using the Pixel 7 Pro for a few weeks now. My experience has been overall positive, but I did lose my volume rocker last week, and this has literally never happened to me on any other phone. Now it's since been found and replaced, but I fear this may be a much bigger issue, and we'll get into a lot more detail on this shortly. Now there's also a few other pros and cons when it comes to the Pixel 7 Pro, so we're just going to go through them now. If we start with the positives, overall Google have done a great job with the aesthetics. The look has changed slightly and I think it's for the better. The predecessors were more colourful and bold, but personally I like this new refined look and it's a bit more sleek and professional. While they have delivered us some hardware improvements in the Pixel 7 Pro, Google's focus has been on software improvements, and the same as we've seen before with Google, they focused on making the hardware better through the software rather than just upgrading everything in the phone. The result of this is a more fine-tuned experience overall, and best of all, it means the phone's cost doesn't increase from the predecessor. The main area of focus with the Pixels is always the camera, and the only hardware upgrade we've got from the 6 Pro is autofocus on the ultra-wide, as well as an 11 megapixel selfie camera. We get some impressive software upgrades to zoom capabilities via the software though, and overall the cameras are very impressive, but they do still have their issues. Now when it comes to photos, the Pixel 7 Pro is just incredible. Through all of the cameras we get great looking photos with natural colours, high detail, no noise and some high dynamic range. We've got a fast shutter speed, which means we can quickly snap photos at any movement, even with the faster moving subjects. Most impressive on the Pixel 7 Pro is the camera zoom, where they crop the primary camera pixels to get a near optical quality 2x zoom. Now they then fuse together the frames from the primary and telephoto, and this gives us great detail at 3x zoom as well as 4x zoom, and then we've got the telephoto camera that gives us the 5x optical zoom. Now it also crops the telephoto camera the same as it does with the 2x, and this gives us 10x zoom at a near optical quality, and this means we've got so many zoom options when shooting, and overall I've been very impressed. Now even if you take the photos from the 30x zoom, okay, we're losing a lot of detail here, but for a phone with only 5x optical zoom, it's still a very impressive photo. Now we also get zoom stabilization while we're zooming in at this magnification, and this makes it much easier to actually take the photos. I forgot just how great the Pixel cameras were until I was shooting them again with the Pixel 7 Pro, and I have to say I much prefer the Pixel 7 Pro's photos over something like the iPhone 14 Pro. In nighttime the shots also look great. The primary camera is just incredible, and we can also take night shots from the ultra wide, but to be honest it's not really that great and it does tend to add some noise. So my recommendation is primary camera only for the night shots. They also introduced macro mode for the Pixel 7 Pro, and again this is a pretty impressive feature. We can get close up and get nice detailed macro shots, which as you can see just look great. It also performs well at the portrait shots, and here we get good enough portraits that look great, but if you do look closely you can always spot a few mistakes here and there, with some minor errors on the edge detection or just some fuzziness around the edges. Selfie shots also look great for both normal photos as well as portrait, and again the portrait photos look good, and it's only if you look a little bit closer then you will see some minor errors. When it comes to the video, the Pixel performs well. It's going to take some nice 4K HDR videos at 60 frames a second, and to be perfectly honest it's not the best out there, but it's still pretty good. It's going to take perfectly good videos as you can see here, but it does have a little bit more noise when compared to something like the iPhone 14 Pro Max. We also get some autofocus issues from time to time, especially on the ultra-wide camera, and it seems to be fine when focusing on a subject, but I find if panning around a landscape view with the ultra-wide, then it's sometimes going to lose focus and have to research. They also introduced the new active stabilization, which works very well. When running down the hill you can see how well the stabilization performs, but again we do lose focus from time to time if it's scenery. Now there's also a new cinematic mode which blurs the background from the subject, and it works, but in my opinion it just doesn't work well enough yet. If you want a talking shot and you're stood relatively still then it's going to be fine, but if the subject's moving around then it does have issues with the focus, and then even when it does have the focus locked on we get a bit of a halo effect around the subject where the edge blur isn't quite close enough. When it comes to night videos, the primary camera also does okay, but being night there's still a fair bit of noise in the video, and then if we switch to the ultra wide camera it really struggles in low lighting. Now the magic eraser has also been improved, and to be honest, this already worked incredibly well, and it's just got even better. You can remove unwanted objects or people from your photo quickly and easily, and it saves you having to do it on a computer. We've also got photo unblur, which I guess can be helpful for some older photos, but it tends to give it a very unnatural sharpening, so I personally just don't use it. We've got new functions like speech to text, and this records you word for word, and it even labels out the different speakers. We've now got face unlock as well as fingerprint unlock, and to be fair, they both work pretty well. The predecessor had fingerprint unlock issues for a long time, and these do now seem to have been resolved, and the fingerprint scanner works well, and it works every time. Now it's not the quickest of all phones as it's still an optical sensor, but in my opinion it works fast enough, as you can see here. Now the face unlock also works well, but it's a 2D face unlock, and it's just using the selfie camera, so it works when I'm wearing my glasses and when I'm not wearing my glasses, but if I put on overhead headphones or a mask, then it tends not to recognize my face at all. The software runs smooth and it's snappy, everything is nice and responsive, and we've got a new improved display with a peak brightness of 1500 nits, which is just a great experience overall. While the predecessor was a little bit buggy, and for me, especially when using third-party camera applications, I haven't experienced this so far in the 7 Pro, so this is also great to see. The battery capacity is pretty much the same as last year with 5000 mAh, and of course the battery has been improved with optimization. Now I'm a heavy user uploading things to TikTok, Instagram and YouTube, and it always lasts me the day, but I don't see a huge improvement from the 6 Pro. Now we also get 30W fast charging along with 20W wireless charging, and again it supports reverse wireless charging. Now the Tensor 2 chipset brings some minor improvements in terms of performance. In Geekbench 5 it scores 1056 for single core and then 3111 for multi, so this is a little higher than the predecessor's 1040 for single and 2854 for multi. It's also going to handle any games you throw at it fine, but it's not as powerful as the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 or 2. Now my biggest issue is of course the volume rocker. I was at home one day and I pulled it out of my pocket to find that the volume rocker was completely missing from the phone. Now I hadn't been out that day and I certainly hadn't dropped the phone, so I was very surprised to see this happen. Luckily I found it and popped it back in the phone, and it works as normal, but I now find that I can take it out whenever I want. It appears that it's secured in there just fine. I can shake it about, try to pick it out, and it won't come out. But if I press down hard on the volume down button, I can then prise it out of position. Now I've checked multiple phones including the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 7, and it doesn't work on these, so it does seem to be just an issue with my Pixel 7 Pro. I've also seen another report of missing volume buttons online, which means it's not just me that has the problem. Now overall, the phone's build quality feels great, but I don't want a phone where I'm worried about losing my volume buttons. Now if this was just a small batch that has the issue, then it's not so much a problem, but if this is more widespread, then it's of course a big issue. Let me know in the comments if anyone has a Pixel 7 Pro, if they're able to do the same. So overall, the Pixel 7 Pro is a great buy though. It delivers an impressive phone at £849 for the UK and then $899 in the USA, which is a good price at providing this volume rocker issue doesn't affect a large amount of phones. We've also got the standard Pixel 7, which is even more of a bargain at $599 or £599, so if you don't want the Quad HD screen or a telephoto camera, then this is also a good choice. Now I'm a big Pixel fan, and as I say, I'm happy with this release, but it's hard to recommend with the potential of a large issue at hand, so I would suggest we see how widespread this problem is before you make your purchase. Now hopefully the comment section can also help shed some light on just how big this issue is, but of course if there's anything I've missed or you've got any questions at all, then just leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, smash a thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down twice, and I'll see you guys in the next one.